Ladies and gentlemen, today is May 17th, 2026. It's a very special day. If you're watching on YouTube, as you can see behind us, it is a time to celebrate, Mets fan. We did it. We're the World Series champions of May. We took two out of three from the AL team I'm sorry, the NYAL team. It's a time to celebrate. You feel, I mean, Ronnie, you feel really great right now, right? We're on cloud nine at the moment.
For sure. I mean, this is where we start talking smack to everybody. Where we start, it's pretty much the Subway Series is the bragging rights for New York. Although it's still May, we're feeling good right now. Mets have won their last five of six, so and taking two out of three from the Yankees is always a positive
It's
positive
always
sign.
awesome. It's always awesome. We have a lot to get to for the series as we break down the highs, the lows, but mostly highs. Um, in case anyone was wondering, or probably not, but I'm going to go ahead and say this. Ronnie's actually next door. He's in one of the rooms in my office, actually. He came over, he's visiting. So we have a little family affair. So my family is mostly Yankee fans. I'm the only Met fan at home with my family, and Ronnie is more. There's more Met fans um, in your household. So it was pretty fun
Yeah.
to see like the house was split. It was just it was mostly us, and the rest were all Yankee fans. And so the way the game went down today, Sunday afternoon, was just awesome. We'll get into it. So without further ado, let's dissect Friday because Friday was a big deal. This
Yeah.
is the part where we get serious. You want to break down what happened on Friday, Ronnie?
So, all right. Again, I'm going to be the first one to admit I was wrong. I said that Friday's game was going to determine the way the series went. Obviously, it didn't happen that way. I would have loved to have seen the Mets won that game because we had our best starter on the mound. There's a lot to take away from that game. A lot of things happened. Cam, I'm going to give him a little bit of respect. I'm going to put some respect on his name.
We need to
Cam
pronounce his name
Schlittler.
right. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Schlittler dominated. Went over six and a third innings. Only allowed the one run, and that was Juan Soto's 250th home run of his career. He's wiped the floor with us. I believe he struck out nine batters in that game, which was very impressive. But it's what he's been doing all year, and I believe I mentioned in the last episode that on the road he's just dominant. I think now
Yeah,
he improved his
yes.
record to 5-1 or 6-1, something like that. And then on the other side of the mound, we had Clay Holmes, our best starter, who we might lose for quite some time. Just to give you a bit of an update on that, it's they said that he might not need surgery for that broken fibula, but it's
Mm.
still not 100% confirmed. Hopefully, he doesn't need the surgery, and we can get him back sooner than later. But yeah, we struggled a lot that game, and it hurt. But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. It was it sucked to see Clay Holmes. It was his fibula, right? Yeah, the
Yeah.
fractured fibula. Yeah. It's brutal because despite the loss to the other team, um, we lost essentially our most consistent best player.
Yeah.
And I had mentioned the Tiger series. The Tigers are reeling because you're missing schoolball, and it sucks to lose a guy like that in a locker room. Well, for us, Clay Holmes he was pitching. I'm not saying schoolball level, but in this rotation, it felt like schoolball for us.
Yeah.
So losing him for quite some time it's another slap in the face of this team. We're dealing with a lot of injuries, and it just sucks that we keep losing players. It's not an excuse for our record. I'm not a guy that makes excuses, but it just makes the season so much more difficult, and you need to
Right.
rely on the other guys more when they're struggling. It just seems like the guys are not performing like the best on this roster or staying healthy. And it's not a knock on them. It's just, you need to expect more when, if you're struggling, now you have more pressure to perform. It's not an easy, it makes the climb over the mountain that much harder for this team, essentially trying to get back to at least 500. Um, Outside of that, yeah, Schlittler, he showed us why he is a candidate
Hmm.
Cy
So,
Young for the AL.
yeah.
He definitely shit on our lineup. Shout out to Juan Soto for 250 home runs. That was cool. I'm definitely gonna see. I'm gonna predict that guy finishes with over 550 home runs by the end of his career.
Mhm.
So credit to Soto. Congratulations on that accolade. And so now we move on to Saturday. I said I'm with you, Ronnie. I'm the first to admit I'm wrong. The winner of Friday was gonna win the series. Because Saturday I did not believe we were gonna win. I myself drew
Yeah.
it up as a loss because it was a bullpen game, and man, the I don't want to break down too much. I don't remember too much of the key plays, but one particular play stood out to me the most. We were winning 5-3, right? And Yankees got bases loaded, and you're thinking, yeah, this is the time with no outs. You're thinking this is where we're gonna lose the series essentially, and you lose this one, you're gonna lose Sunday. The ball club is gonna be reeling. It felt like that, especially with the Clay Holmes injury. And then Luke Weaver comes in, and he strikes out the first two guys, and then gets a force out at second base. Um, I forgot who he pitched to for those two strikeouts, but nonetheless, man, Luke Weaver won us that game
Yeah.
on Saturday. He was incredible. I need to look at the box score to see who else stepped up on the offensive side. But again, like I was working Saturday. I didn't get to watch the game too much. I'm not allowed to be watching anything, obviously when I'm working. But I remember I picked it up from the seventh inning when I got out, and I just started watching from there. And I saw bases loaded, no outs, and I'm like, great. This is the luck I bring to the team, right? They're winning without me watching, and I finally watch them, and they're about to
Mhm.
lose it. And no, I was wrong. Luke Weaver was the man. Ronnie, who stepped up on Saturday offensively, where we got the spark from?
So Carson Bench went 3 for 4, and
Wow,
Mark Vientos, he had 3 RBIs that game. So everyone was saying that
incredible.
Mark Vientos was the spark in that game just because he had the 3 RBIs. I'm sorry, yeah, 3 for 4.
He had three RBIs, one
He
hit,
had three
one for four,
RBIs.
three RBIs.
Yeah, correct.
Oh, that's incredible.
That's what I'm
Soto, two
seeing in the stat
hits
line.
and a
Two
run.
hits, yeah, 2 for 2, 2 walks, and what's it called? Uh, I'm gonna piggyback off of what you said off the bullpen. Luke Weaver, dominant performance. Bases loaded, no outs. Came in, struck out two, then a ground ball to the next batter to
Yeah,
get out of that jam. Uh, I also want to give credit to where it's due. I met when we got off the last episode. I texted you the following day or the night of about Devin Williams facing the Yankees. So obviously, everybody in New York wanted him out, right?
yeah,
Especially off the New York AL team, and we picked him up. Kind of weird that we picked him up after the numbers he put up last year, but we said why not give him a try. I kind of had a little bit of faith in him. I believe in the first episode we spoke about him as well. We didn't mention him at all. And I
mm-mm.
texted you and I said, "Hey, we forgot to mention Devin Williams. He
Yeah,
might be he might turn the season around after the series because if he pitches against the Yankees and he gets to close the games or whatever, doesn't give up anything,
he has a big
he might turn
spot.
his home season around."
Yeah,
And he did. He came in yesterday and got the save.
yeah.
He struck out one batter, and he even came in today's game and pitched a 1-2-3. What was it? 1-2-3 ninth as well, I believe. So we'll
Let's
get into
see.
that game a bit, but
You're right.
there
You're
was
right.
there, yeah, and the bullpen yesterday they pitched 5 innings, gave up 1 run, struck out 6 batters in the game, and only gave up 3 hits. David Peterson went 4 innings, struck out 8, gave up 2 earned, 3 walks. But the bullpen, Manny, the bullpen went
Listen,
5 innings.
Peterson again. Peterson again is he's proven to
Listen,
be that long man.
hey,
I don't mean to cut you off, but he's proven to be that long. Like he's the guy you want. Brazelbon sets the tone, and then you put in Peterson. If he's gonna keep giving you 3 to 5 innings, I mean, hey, what were you gonna say, Ronnie?
no, so kind of like in the strategy that they're going with these bullpen games. David Peterson did give up 6 hits in those 4 innings. It's a lot, I believe, in 4 innings. We're not winning every single game that they do this, but they're starting to perform
Yeah.
uh, by doing this, right? I think it's 2 games in a row that they do this, and they right. I believe they won. I think Tuesday they did this and they won, or
We did
Wednesday.
the yeah, yeah. We won 5 out of 6,
Uh,
so they had to have done the bullpen.
exactly. And
Yeah.
David Peterson struck out 8 Yankees. Overall, it was 14
It's
between everyone.
incredible. He's picked it up the last couple like not even quality, like really like
And you know what? You know what happened? You know what happened?
what happened.
You go in today. You have Peralta go in for 5 innings. Then you had Manaya go for 4. Now we were
Yeah,
watching that game and we did not like what we were seeing from Manaya. But guess what? Bullpen is rested. The long stretch we forgot to mention in the last episode, this plays dividends because the bullpen was rested after yesterday's game.
yeah,
We only
yeah,
threw in two relievers in today's game, and that way we have everybody rest today so that they can go into Washington tomorrow and take it from there. So
yeah,
I'm kind of liking this strategy. Devin Williams' ERA is now down to 4.91. I believe it was over 7 about a week ago. So yeah, things were looking good in yesterday's game.
yeah. Overall, it's great. I'm never a fan of it personally because I always see in the playoffs. I've seen a lot of teams do it where, hey, our bullpen, they could definitely take a game from us, or the only time it works is with the Dodgers, and I mean that's the
Yeah.
Dodgers, and we won't get into that, but um. In the series, I see bullpen start, and I'm thinking we're not winning that. We lost. So, regardless, great game from the Mets yesterday. Vientos was definitely the man of the match offensively, but man, Peterson, thank you. Weaver, thank you so much. And then Williams was able to come in and shut the door and get the save, which was huge. And now we go on to what I'm looking forward to talking is now today's game. And
Mm-hmm.
today's game was just incredible. This is one of those games that we're gonna remember. And it's funny. I say it now that I think about it, it's funny because your son is downstairs and he was running around playing. He kind of got scared when we got up screaming, yelling, cheering. But I feel like this is a game where like years and years, you're gonna keep telling your son. I remember this one time on, you guys visited us, so we could see your daughter for the first time. And man, the Mets beat the Yankees. And I gotta tell you, man, like we had like a less than 7% chance of winning. And that man, Tyrone Taylor, right? Tyrone Taylor.
Yes, sir. Tyrone Taylor.
Oh my goodness, what a moment! But before we get to that, Freddie Peralta, we needed him to pitch deep into this game, and
Yeah.
he did, and he ran into some trouble. Now, I I openly admitted this game is over when we put in Manaya. And the reason why is because he comes in and he gives up the 2 runs. Now, granted, he wasn't in charge. It was Peralta because he left with those runners on base. But Manaya couldn't get out of the situation. And now we're down 3-1, right? And then the next inning, 3 more runs come in, right?
Right.
I believe that's how it went down. It was 3-1 or 4-1. I'm missing something. No, it was at one point it became 5-1 because
It
Manaya
was
gave up
five.
the two
Yeah,
runs.
5-1.
It was
5-1.
5-1 because Manaya gave up the 2 runs that Peralta was responsible for, and then another 2 runs came in which was Manaya's fault, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so the biggest thing in baseball games, all right, it tells you a lot about how the key victories to a comeback is when the other team strikes, how quickly you're able to respond. Okay, it's very important, especially in baseball. It's very important. Okay, um, if you're able right off the bat when your offense is up next after your pitchers gave up a pretty low quality series the inning prior, half inning prior, can you score runs back in to get yourself a chance to get back into the game? Okay, you need some momentum, and they did that. They responded with who doubled to make it 5-3 on the bottom half of that inning. I'm gonna search up the player's name, but we strike a double. We hit a double with runners on, and all of a sudden we just cut the deficit down to it was Torrens, Luis
Yeah.
Torrens.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Luis Torrens, huge clutch hit, which I believe you and I, one of us mentioned it. He could get you clutch hits. He will
You
give you
did.
one or two hits. He might, but how often is not as consistent. But here he delivered, and we cut deficit right to 5-3. Now, granted, the Yankees scored the next inning to make it 6-3, but again, these moments
Mhm.
matter because you still don't feel like you're. It went from we lost to okay, we're down 2 runs. Damn, we're down 3 runs. But you know what? The team responded. Can they respond again? There's a difference between being down a large deficit and doing nothing and compared to striking and hitting 1 2, it could be 1 run. You're giving your offense a chance to let you know we're still in this game and the game could change drastically, right? So then we move on to the ninth inning. Okay, and this is where all the fun starts for us, right? um Tell me, Ronnie, before we talk about today, you mentioned a very key moment that I do remember, and this was years ago, where it was the ninth inning. You're down 2 runs or 3 runs, excuse me, and you're down to your last out, right? Or you're down. There's runners on 1 or 2 outs. You're feeling like, damn, we need a big moment. What did Taylor's home run today remind you of?
Uh, First of all, while we were watching that game, the, I feel like we were just watching it and just trying to see, we're trying to analyze. I think now because we have the podcast, we're trying to
Mm-hmm.
analyze everything, and now we're not enjoying it as fans. Obviously, the hope is still there, so we're wondering if they can do something and take advantage of the fact that they have runners on, and especially in scoring position. Like you mentioned, Torrance doubled 5-3. We're like, okay, maybe we can do
We're
this.
back in. Mm-hmm.
Yankees score a run in the sixth to make it 6-3, and the seventh, I mean, to make it 6-3, and it's just like, ah, damn, now we're definitely out. Then Tyrone Taylor's home run came in. We got two straight hits, by leave to start the inning or something like that. But two runners were on. Tyrone Taylor comes on, number 5 hitter. And I believe right before he hit that pitch, I was like, Tyrone Taylor as number 5. That's a little weird, right?
Yep.
Um, but very first pitch he sees, boom. That reminded me of 2019, the Mets versus the Nationals. I believe it was in 2019. And the Mets were trying to make again a playoff push. And we were down 6-3 in the ninth, 2 outs. Todd Frazier comes up to bat with two
Mm-hmm.
runners on and hits a
Mm-hmm.
shot in the same exact spot. And the way I jumped and screamed after Tyrone Taylor hit the ball on the very first pitch you saw reminded me of the same way because I was at that game when Todd Frazier hit that
And I
game time.
believe I believe the funny thing about that story was your brother wanted to head out.
We were
Everyone's saying was we should head out.
Yeah, no. So we at the bottom of the ninth or the top of the ninth, actually, we were up in the 300 sections, right? And we were like, all right, let's head out, let's beat this. As we're
Traffic.
making our way down, literally as we were making our way down, the Mets had. I'm just gonna just make it a quick story short.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? We were heading our way down, and all of a sudden, when we get to the bottom to head out, the Mets had finished the top of the ninth, 1-3 inning, and all of a sudden, we just hear people cheering. One runner gets on. Then again, we hear the bat and
You
people
got a
cheering
rally
again.
going.
2 runs, and we were like, "Yo, what's happening? What's going on?" So we stayed by home plate, first base area while we're heading out. We were just like, "Yo, I think we should just stay and wait a bit." Uh, and we stayed, and Todd Frazier hit the home run, and then Michael Conforto comes up 2 batters later, 3 batters later, hits the walk off. That this game reminded me of that because we
Yep.
needed that game against the Nationals in 2019. Although the Mets didn't make it to the playoffs, but it reminded me of that spark that gave them that playoff run in 2015 when we got Cespedes because it was against the Nationals as well.
Exactly.
Um, it just gave
Hmm.
me that same feeling.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, today was a great game. We needed to pick up the win, especially come from behind. Interesting stat: 12 come from behind wins this season for the Mets already. 12 out of the 20 wins that the Mets have been come
That's
from behind.
impressive.
It's
That's
very
actually
impressive.
impressive.
Yeah,
Um,
and guess who got the walk off again today?
You want me to
None
say
other
it?
than Go ahead.
Carson
Go
Bench.
ahead.
Carson Bench, the boy. The boy.
Yes.
I'm debating between an AJ Ewing or a Carson Bench jersey. They're both fighting against each other to see who's gonna earn the respect. I'll probably end up buying both. Let's be honest here. I'm glad you mentioned that because I remember that home run. And funny enough, you were down 6-3. Well, today we were
Mhm.
down 6-3, and the
Exactly.
home run, same thing. The
Same
camera,
exact
it's
thing.
incredible. The camera angle, it felt like probably
Everything.
like in the same row, like row 20 of the outfield.
Bro,
It was an incredible spot.
if anybody's watching this, if you guys are watching this, I urge you to watch that home run trot by Todd Frazier going to first base. I will
Yeah,
never forget that home run trot. I mean, it's just pretty gangster. And speaking of Todd Frazier, he was a former Yankee before he went to the Mets.
yeah.
I'll just never forget that game. I'll never forget that
It
game,
was awesome.
especially
It
since I
was
was there.
awesome. Yeah. And again, that home run propelled the Mets to make a run towards the playoffs. Well, I feel like a win like this with that home run might propel the Mets to actually make a push to reach 500. And
Right.
again, the thing with this team, despite the injuries, despite everything that's going on with them, if you could just survive and be relevant and not be sellers by the trade deadline,
Yeah.
that will be another discussion to see what we're gonna do. Are we gonna commit or we're gonna try to sell or what can we do? We need to evaluate the team by then. However, that's later down the road in the season. It's still a long season, but it's these moments where you feel like, damn, these Mets just might make a run and it might make things interesting. It's still a long way to go, but you just gotta love these moments and you gotta love the guys that are getting it done. You can't you watch this Mets team and you can't help but root for. I mean, Ronnie, we have Juan Soto, and I'm not trying to disrespect Juan Soto here. I love Juan Soto, and I want to perform at the MVP level. But this Mets team has me wanting to root for Ewing and Bench more, and I tend to forget that we have Juan Soto. It's not a knock on Juan Soto. It's just I'm admiring at the growth of Bench, how he's gotten so comfortable last few weeks, and the fact that he was able to get a big hit or at least have his moment against the Yankees, of all teams. I said the word. I meant to say AL, New York, whatever. The fact that he got his moment against the rival, that just you can't help but it's an explosion of confidence, and you just feel good. Like it's the Mets are starting to make me feel like this team does have magic. There's something there, and I just feel like I can't count them out just yet.
Yeah.
After the Clay Holmes injury, I had said the Mets, and I'll be a man of my word. I said even if the Mets win this series, I just feel a bit dead inside because of Clay Holmes injury. It just feels like such a blow to this team that they can't overcome these injuries. And yet they won the series, and yet I feel good about them moving forward. It's really weird. The injury does upset me a lot, but the way we're winning with the bullpen and then the guys stepping up, these moments, Taylor being clutch, I just can't help but just look and see what the Mets are capable of doing. It just feels like there's something magical in that locker room that once you get the guys healthy and they're so irrelevant, I feel like this team could definitely make a push for a wild card. I don't see us reaching the Braves. There's still a lot of holes in this lineup. There's still a lot of holes in the rotation, especially now that Holmes is out. We got to see what we do about the empty spot. Do you think we call up Tong? He's not pitching the best in minor league right now. He's struggling, but I mean, at this point, what can we do?
Um, I think we spoke about this earlier today, bringing up Jonah Tong. I don't know. You mentioned his numbers in the minors. I told you to look it up to see what they look like.
It's not good.
Maybe he's not ready yet. It's just tough to see what direction they're going to go. Because who else do we have? Put Manaya back in the rotation. That might be a possibility for the Mets if Holmes is looking to miss some time because you got what's it called? What's his name? The other long reliever that we got from the Brewers.
Who he's injured right now?
No, no, no. We have the other guy. He pitched yesterday, I believe.
I'll search him up real
Or
quick. Let me see. Also, real quick, besides the win today, while I look for it, besides the win today, Devin Williams stepped in the 10th inning with a
Yeah.
runner on second, and did not allow any runs. Very, very impressive. Very like this. You feel like this guy's getting his confidence. He got the win today, but you could
Uh,
just feel the confidence coming up. You found the guy?
he didn't allow any runs. He didn't.
No,
He only allowed a walk. He didn't even give up a hit, which is great.
that's
And
great.
yeah, Tobias Myers.
There
We
you go.
also
Yeah,
have
Tobias Manor. Yeah, I was thinking of
we can
AJ Minter, who's out.
no, he's still out. Interesting stat, Manny. I want to bring this up. So mentioning Tobias Myers and Devin Williams.
Hmm.
Funny enough, before today, the Mets have lost 91 straight games trailing after the eighth inning,
Yes.
and they broke that. And guess when was the last time that they won after the eighth inning?
Oh, it was it
Take a wild guess.
2024?
Yeah, the 2024
2024.
wild card series against
Yep,
the
the Pete
Brewers.
Alonso.
Pete Alonso home run against none other
That
than
was the
Devin
last
Williams.
time that was the last time we won a
Bro, look at
comeback.
the series of
Wow.
events. That
Wow.
series of event. No, for trailing after the eighth inning, it was against Devin Williams. There's another interesting stat that I wanted to mention. Clay Holmes, Brandon Nimmo hit a fly ball that injured Jason Dominguez from the Yankees. The guy who got called up to replace him was Spencer Jones.
Hmm.
Spencer Jones hit the line drive that injures Clay Holmes. So it all started with Brandon Nimmo.
Yeah, but, I mean, you can't write these things up, man. It's incredible how baseball works, or just I guess life. It's
Yeah,
just so bizarre,
it's
so
crazy.
bizarre, and it
It's
wasn't
crazy.
intentional. We're not trying to say it wasn't intentional or nothing like
Oh, of
that.
course
There's no
not.
way
No,
you
no,
can't.
absolutely.
It's just and look again. I'm not gonna make excuses, but and I'm not asking for anyone to get injured. No, I'm not the type of guy. Um, it just blows my mind that the Mets hit Schlittler like 2 or 3 times. And again, I'm not rooting for him to be injured. I want no athlete. I want no one to think that impression. That's not who I am. But it's incredible the luck that he was able, and with good fortunes, because he's a great pitcher, and we don't want to see players like that go down. He got hit 3 times in the same foot
Hmm.
and that area, and he was able to walk it off and still shut the Mets down, which is incredible.
Yeah, yeah,
People need to understand. I'm sure baseball fans that listen to this, they understand. And if you don't, baseball hitting you at the speed that it comes out of, it could seriously like kill you. Um, and Holmes gets hits once, and he's out for 3 to 6 months. It's just
yeah,
the bad luck that the Mets get. That's the part that just it's so unfortunate and it is so annoying. Because you just can't help but you just can't. It's one of those moments where you just put your hands up and say, "Geez, like man, like, can we get like a break here?" But hey, man, credit to the guys in the locker room. One hell of a series win for the Mets. I'm very. These are the days where I'm very proud to be a Mets fan.
yeah.
And Ronnie, it's very special. My dad's a very he's a Yankee fan as long as I can remember. And when you got him and other Yankee fans that I've messaged today and people that reached out to me, when you start getting to 27 and the
Oh my god.
playoffs and all this stuff, then you did something special. When you got to go back into history, like I love hearing that because I just know I'm like, yep, they lost. They lost, and they're feeling themselves. So you got to remind yourself why we're the big boys when we just dropped 2 out of 3 for the Mets. And I know this for a fact. If the Mets would have lost the series, Yankee fans, they will always say, listen, I think
We're the
very little
big
of the
brothers.
Mets, the little
We're the,
brothers. I don't think of the
yeah.
Mets. This is not a rivalry.
Oh
But
yeah, it's not a
yeah,
rivalry.
it's not a rivalry. But yeah, if we would have
Right.
lost, you definitely would have talked shit. You can't tell me that you didn't want Steve Juan Soto to lose. You can't tell me shit. Like I respect Yankee fans when they tell me to my face, fuck the Mets, because of Soto or they just whatever. What I can't stand is when the energy changes when they lose to the Mets.
Hmm.
I respect there's a handful. There's a few at work that I actually do respect because they tell me how it is. They hate the Mets, only one team in New York, and then
Hmm.
they'll lose. And then I already know tomorrow they're gonna say, "Man, fuck the Mets." Still, like I don't think very little of them. They're not gonna say, "Oh, it's not a rivalry." They're not using no excuses. They tell me straight up, "I fucking hate that team." I respect that.
Yeah.
Tell me how it is. I respect that, and it's good laughs. But all in all, we have bragging rights for next couple months because the next one's in September. Till then, we'll review that. Real quick, Ronnie. We got the Nationals. We got 4 games. We're heading to DC. It's not a long road trip, so that's good. We have no rests until next week Thursday. So we have the next 4 games against the Nationals starting tomorrow, obviously, the 18th. Then we go into Miami, which I might go to Friday's game, and
Might take you up on
then
that.
I mean, hey, let's do it. If we, I can't wait for Ewing and Benjamin.
Hey, if the
Um,
Mets sweep the Nationals or at
we'll
least
be
take
there.
3, I'll be there.
It's the Mets got to keep winning. I think a
Yeah.
split with the Nationals is we need to see because now with the thing with the Mets with Clay Holmes' injury, we're gonna have 2 games potentially where we have a bullpen outing, and we need to see what we're gonna do to fill up that. We can't have 2 bullpen games. That's ridiculous. We can't do that. Um, and then we're playing Nationals again at City Field before we finally have a day off. Any thoughts? I'm sure Christian Scott's pitching. I believe he's pitching tomorrow, and then McLean is pitching. I believe. I'm not sure. Um,
Yeah, Christian Scott and then McLean. Correct.
and then McLean, and then the next 2 we got to see who's pitching. I
Yes.
believe that a TBD,
Yep.
and
TBD.
yeah, TBD, yeah. So we're gonna see what the Mets do. The Nationals are not a team to take lightly. They have some really good young players on that squad, from what I understand. All I know is their pitcher tomorrow is not. He's not the best. Um,
Close sub 6.00 ERA. He's
right.
5.191, so
Yeah.
he gives up a lot of runs
Yeah.
per 9 innings.
Um, Before we get to the winner and losers of the Yankee series, I didn't do too much research on the Nationals, but I will say this because this is very important because we could throw the numbers, we could throw the statistics. Wins like today, you're feeling a high, but it's very important because I feel like at least with my teams, it tends to happen more often than not. I do warn the Mets that you're feeling great tonight, but tomorrow this series is history. Like leave the joy and everything to the fans. If you're a player, your priority is winning the Nationals and focusing on the Nationals only. Don't think like bench, for example. It's great, enjoy tonight, but hey, tomorrow morning, forget it. Do your scouting report, take some reps, prepare your matchup against the Nationals. A lot of the time when teams have a really high and then you look at the schedule like, oh boy, we could be 500 by next week. They end up blowing it. And I don't want the team to regress. We can't afford to regress. We need to take advantage of this now. And hopefully by the end of the week with the Nationals and the Marlins, hopefully by the end of the week, that 6 games under 500 becomes 4, maybe 3. Okay, it's very important. It was a big statement win for the Mets. You give the
Yeah.
fans belief and hope it's there despite the injuries. You can't help but root for these guys because they're doing something that's unprecedented with the expectations that they're failing to meet, but they're still in the fight. Um, but very important. You have to keep the momentum going into the Nationals because if you keep the momentum, you have an edge over them. They have some really good players. That lineup, they have a pretty good offense. I'll be honest with you. I can't name I can't name you any of the young guys on that team at all. But I believe their batting average, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're like one of the top 15 teams, if I'm not mistaken. I read something like that. Um, they're just one of those that they have a lot of youth and they're coming at you every single. It reminds me of Marlins in the 2010s. They didn't win a lot of games, but for some reason, when you pitch against them, you look at the lineups. They have a lot of really good players that get on base that you just knew they're going to become superstars eventually, which they did. This national team reminds me of that. And again, it's a very scary if you're not on your best. If obviously if you're not if you're not gonna focus or your pitcher's not gonna have a good outing, then you're not looking great at all against this offense. They will make you pay. So I'm hoping that the Mets, Mendoza, tells the guys, all right, this is awesome, great, great series win, way to pull it off. But hey, man, it's back to work. It's at the end of the day, it's 0-0, and let's keep the train rolling. Um, any thoughts on the series, Ronnie?
Yeah, no, just keep the momentum going. Keep this offense hitting. Juan Soto is starting to look better. He's heating up. Mark Vientos, he's finally starting to get his hits through into
Mhm.
the outfield so that he can get on base. Uh, They got to protect the bullpen now that Clay Holmes is going to be down at some point for some time. And this series, so they have to use this Subway Series as a launch point. Now we got to start beating the worst teams, the bad
Yep.
teams.
Yep.
They have to pound on them. This is a must-win type of series. They
Yeah.
have to at least take 3 or 4. I'm looking for the sweep. I'm sorry to say this. Maybe I'm asking for too much. Sometimes I bite more than I can chew, and I'm okay with it. I own up to my mistakes, but they need a sweep, and it's a lot of pressure to put on this team. But if you have Carson Bench, who's starting to feel comfortable out there, you have AJ Ewing, who is becoming a spark plug for the team, Juan Soto and Mark Vientos, who are starting to heat up. If they can carry this team into winning some ball games and taking these series after series after series, you can see a deep run for the playoffs. And
Yeah.
instead of being sellers at the trade deadline, we can hopefully be buyers if we're down some players. And at the same time, if we are making a playoff push, these guys that coming back from the line to the lineup, man,
It
it's
feels like
just no telling.
acquisitions.
Exactly, exactly. So, and if in worst case scenario, if they don't make the playoffs, or at least there's no playoff run, become sellers and sell these guys that got hurt that we acquired off in the
Hmm.
offseason. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, we need to beat weaker opponents. This is the time to do it. We're coming
This
off
is it.
a great series against the Yankees at home, and now they just need to carry that momentum on to the next one, and hopefully
If
they can come into Miami and get their game on.
Yeah, it feels like this is the push of 500. It's now. Try to
Yeah,
chop it between three. I need to look back on my episodes and see where did I say how much games you want to be before end of May. I had predicted, if I'm not mistaken, I think I predicted between 7 to 5 games. If you could be under 500, then you have a good June and you're back in the fight. But I gotta look back and I'll probably say it again at the end of the national series when we do our next episode. Winners and losers. I'll tell you real quick, Ronnie. My winner is going to be Luke Weaver. We don't win the series without Weaver's performance in that seventh inning of Saturday. He was awesome. He was awesome. He just watching that performance and seeing him getting amped up. Right there, I said, "Oh yeah, the Mets are going to win this game. There's no way they're going to blow this now." I told everybody the Mets, yeah, they're sure they suck. Sure, whatever. But I'm telling you right now, you better respect your bullpen. Our bullpen's not the problem. And if you're gonna fall late in games, it's gonna be hard to get runs against this Mets team. And Lord behold, there you go. That's what happened. And just incredible performance. And my biggest loser, well, the winner, hard hat. And loser, I'm gonna give it to Boba Bichette. The que pena, actually. Boba Bichette. He even when he hits, it feels like it's not impactful, and it's not a knock on him, because getting a hit's already hard enough, in professional. But his hits feel like there's no impact. He's not really extending a lot of at bats. I've noticed he's always swinging first, and today he had an error that was just uncalled for. I know Benj dropped the ball, and it's routine. You shouldn't be dropping that, and it's crucial. And the Yankees scored off of that. But Bo Bichette, man, like you're at this point in your career, you should not be committing those errors, and it's so crucial. And it just extended the rally for the Yankees. And Sean Manaea is already struggling. You can't. You need to help him out in those situations, man. Don't have him keep pitching it and like discourage him. So Bichette, he's starting to get on my nerves. You gotta do better. Ronnie,
yeah.
who's your hard hat winner and your Kepena?
Well, I'm gonna give the Kepen award to Bo Bichette, and
Mm-hmm.
based off
Mm-hmm.
what you said, and I'm also gonna say I'm giving it to him because I would have given the hard hat to the entire Mets team after losing Clay Holmes to significant time. This team picked it up, and they picked themselves up. They showed that they're still resilient and they can still play. But if it wasn't for Bo Bichette, or at least because of Bo Bichette dropping that ball and performing the way he did, the entire team can. I can't give it to the entire team because he's on
No.
it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give him the Kippen Award. My hard hat, I have two, but I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Devin Williams. Just because I'm gonna go ahead and shit on Yankees fans. You guys trolled us. You guys laughed at us for signing Devin Williams.
Let
Even
them know.
Devin Williams were like he was like, "Hey, I'm on the best side of the sound right now. I'm with the best fans." After he got booed and you know, excuse us for the audio. That's my son screaming.
That's
It's
her.
10
No,
feet
that's actually Yankee fans hearing you
outside.
talking about Devin Williams.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he closed the game today. He closed the game yesterday. He got the win today against the Yankees. So I'm giving it to him. My honorable mention, I would have given it to Tyrone Taylor just because he had the
Hmm.
biggest moment of the series,
Yeah.
that game tie and 3-run home run.
Yep. And shout out to Bench, 2 walk-offs already in his career with the
Absolutely,
Mets. Awesome. He's
yes.
electric. I love the guy. Again, I'm debating AJ Ewing or Carson Bench jerseys. So yeah, so with that being said, it's a good wrap up. Final thoughts, Ronnie. Final thoughts, anything?
Use this series as a launch point. Turn around the season. I think I said this last episode. Take it series after series. We want to see you guys. We want to see the Mets win.
Yeah.
It's after your rant last Sunday. I think they heard you or saw your podcast,
I hope.
and
Damn
they
right.
won 5 of 6. They won five last
I'm
five.
a man of the people. I say how as it is. Um, Final thoughts, Ronnie, for me. Yankees, pathetic outing from them. And remember, doesn't matter your record, doesn't matter where you're at. Just remember that we beat you the series. Let it sink in. In September, we're gonna do it again. And it doesn't matter if you're first place. I don't care about your shiny 27. When let's be real, most of your fan bases didn't even see. They only seen like 2 in their lifetime. Not the other 20. In the Boston Celtics Bill Russell era that no one remembers. And remember, Juan Soto is daddy. Just remember that. Those are my final thoughts. Ronnie, I would unplug the mic and just drop it, but it's a very expensive mic. I won't do that. But that's all I gotta say for Yankee fans. Suck it. And 4 letters. Remember, 4 letters. 27. What is it? 27 titles, but I got 4 letters. LFGM. All right.
There you go.
LFGM. So with that being
There you
said, if
go.
you're listening on audio, thank you for listening. And if you're on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and share. Till then, now look at that. You saw that? I just dropped I was gonna drop mic and the light got lighter. Look at my face. I'm like shining.
Got brighter.
I got brighter. Till then, Mets fans, LFGM. Let's keep it going, baby.
Let's go.